a process against the fellow in line with our policies and the legislation. Honorable Mayor Councillor Tebo Muchechepa, along with the leadership collective, will be engaging directly with the affected family in support of the victim.
The Eastern Cape Health Department has confirmed that 128 learners affected by the suspected food poisoning incident at Kobizizwe Agricultural School in Mthatha have received treatment and have been discharged. Over 130 learners were admitted yesterday to various hospitals after consuming food from the school's nutrition program. 3 learners remain under observation. Provincial Health spokesperson Siyanda Manana.
After the kids consumed the rice and the tinned fish, they then exhibited symptoms of dizziness, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pains, and seizures. So we then dispatched the emergency personnel. The number of scholars that were affected rose from about 70 to 131 last night. However, most of them were stabilized and returned home. We only had 3 where they were being monitored. The 2 were being monitored and 1 was admitted.
And finally, Water and Sanitation Minister Phemi Majodina says while the investment in water provision is crucial, sanitation issues for communities should not be neglected. She spoke at the African Union Water Investment Summit in Cape Town. The aim of the summit is to attract investment to address water scarcity on the continent, as well as putting measures in place to ensure water security in the face of global warming. Majodina says the importance of sanitation cannot be emphasized enough.
We have missed something which is sanitation. We said water investment summit. There can now be water without linking that water with sanitation. In whatever we'll be doing here, we'll be wanting to change the current situation of water to respond to the needs of this continent.
Recapping the top story, a 38-year-old man has been shot and killed in Strandfontein on the Cape Flats and another wounded while sitting in a play park. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
Who says talking never solves anything? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
We've upgraded. Our new GIS-linked national address database lets us connect with you better than ever before. By visualizing licensed and unlicensed households nationwide, we can ensure timely communication. Our payment reminders are a crucial tool to help you stay compliant and avoid penalties, empowering you to take proactive steps. Efficient electronic communication helps us collect fees seamlessly, bolstering the SABC's mandate in line with Section 27 of the Broadcasting Act. TV licenses. Pay yours, make a difference.
The reigning champs, Amapagania, want to demonstrate that they have a consistent winning formula. But 2024 semi-finalists, Masandawana, say this time around they will advance to the final. This is the MTN 8 First Leg semi-final. Wafa Wafa! Catch Orlando Pirates versus Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday, 16 August at 2 p.m. live on SABC 1 and SABC Plus. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All. We honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
She's got a right to be.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Growing up in a family with two educated parents, I was introduced to academic opportunities at a very young age. Having studied in various continents, my drive for education led me out the home of my parents and not only brought me here to Furman, but to this platform. This is what motivates me to evoke change, because moments like these are attainable, and they are within the reach of each African girl. According to the UN, the African continent holds the highest concentration of women per capita. The continent is also predicted to see the highest rates of population growth, so much so that within the next 20 to 30 years, the story of the global female will be told through the idiom of an African girl. Without education, African girls are automatically excluded from exploring opportunities of leadership and democracy, thus placing them in an infinite cycle, a cycle I like to call the donut of marginalization. Having seen the front of many wars and carried the pain of many tragedies, in various countries, the failure of social cohesion has manifested itself in varying forms of aggression against women. Women and children are maimed, they're murdered, they're raped, they're mutilated at some of the fastest rates in the world. This cycle is initiated by the reluctance of men to let go of traditional power. The cycle is then fueled by the disregard of female education, primarily demoting mental liberation and the right of choice. When girls and boys are put together in a classroom as equals, equality is ingrained at a very young age. This empowerment allows for girls to set high expectations for themselves that no one can ever take away. Outside the classroom, the importance of opportunities then move from the classroom to the household, from the household to societies, from societies to industries, and industries to institutions. As Michelle Obama once said, no one country can flourish if it stifles the potential of its women, and it deprives itself of the contribution of half of its citizens. This is why I believe it's important to educate African girls, because we will see immense global change.
And that there was Nomonde Gila, who is a South African environmental science and Spanish major at Furman University, speaking there about her experiences. And so true, once we start inculcating that sense of equality between young girls and young boys from a young age, at least in as far as what they're able to do and achieve in society, it does help break those cycles of marginalization. You're listening to The Talking Point. A very good morning to all of you that have tuned into the show. My name is Cathy Mohlahlana. It's a pleasure to be in your company as we lead conversations that move us right through until midday. Okay, so quite a morning that we are in for. We'll continue to keep a close eye on what is happening in Pimville, in Soweto. Streets there at a complete standstill. There are hundreds of residents that have lined the streets, not necessarily protesting, but certainly wanting to get to the bottom of what happened in Pimville last night at Maponya Mall, where there was this attack on e-hailing drivers. The difficulty with that situation is that you not only have a driver that was killed, you also have two other people that were injured in those attacks, and that includes people that were just passing by and not necessarily a target of the attack. Either way, it is symptomatic of a problem that exists. We know that just earlier, late last month, the e-hailing drivers in Gauteng had staged a protest, raising quite a number of grievances. They went to hand over a memorandum of demands in Sandton. And among those complaints include, issues such as lower commission fees that they're getting from companies such as Uber, Bolt, InDrive. They complained about the the working hours, the extent to which they just can't get a break, and yet they're not making enough to actually feed their families. What is behind this particular attack in Maponya? That is still a matter for police investigation. So we'll still keep a very close eye on it. But you can't help but look at some of these scenes and be reminded of just what is wrong in this country. The fact that people can decide that we're going to take lives, and it happens. The families of the person who died that family was expecting this individual to come home. The families of the two people that are injured, they were expecting that this person is going to come home, and yet they didn't, because somebody else decided that they were going to interfere with their lives. They were going to kill. And the reason why I'm saying that they decided they were going to kill is that they were armed. They were ready to kill, which is exactly what they did. So unfortunately, it paints yet another picture of just the broken state of affairs in our country. So we'll keep a close eye on that throughout the morning and bring you the developments. Criselda Lewis for the SABC is on the ground in Pimville. We'll be keeping a close eye on her reporting too. Coming up on the show for this Thursday, we will start off with the open line as we always do. I'll be taking your calls on 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial, 086 000 2032. Also, coming up on the show, you can, of course, send your WhatsApp voice notes and text messages on 0614 104 107. Coming up in the second hour of the show for Municipal Watch today, we're going to be focusing on the Nkomazi local municipality. You know, I must say that every Thursday when we have to look at Municipal Watch and what is happening in local government, I still don't know why there doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency around fixing local government. Why is there no sense of urgency? Because we continue to hear these incredulous stories of not only how broken the system is, but the extent to which it continues to deteriorate. And yet, where is the action that signals that this issue is getting the attention that it deserves? How many more municipalities need to be in distress? How many more municipalities need to be under administration before it becomes clear that we are sitting with a big ticking time bomb? So, it's yet another municipality. Excuse my frustration. Because yet another municipality where you are seeing financial problems, workers not being paid, service delivery disrupted almost to a level of being non-existent. And people are expected to go on under these circumstances, right? People are expected to continue. But how? How is this allowed to happen? How is it that we've become so content, so complacent about what is really a critical state of affairs unfolding at local government? Anyway, today we're going to be looking at the Nkomazi local municipality and part of what has been unfolding there. Unfortunately, shall I say same script, different cast? Would that be appropriate? Same script, different cast. But the situation is allowed to continue. The final hour, looking forward to this conversation, we're going to be joined in studio by General Bantu Holomisa. This is the Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans. The interview couldn't have been scheduled on a better day because then we'll also ask him about the comments that have been made in Iran by the South African National Defence Force Chief. Have you had a chance to see what it is that the chief of defense said in Iran. He not only expressed a strong solidarity with Iran, but talked about mutual cooperation, working together, saying that his visit was not only a military visit, but also that it carried a political message, quote unquote, as per Iranian state media. It was carried out at the best possible time to express our heartfelt feelings to the peace-loving nation of Iran. This, of course, has sparked responses from several ministries, including the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation. We also have the Ministry of Defense and Military Veterans that has come out to try and clarify what the Chief of Defense meant. And this is Chief General Rudzani Maphanywa. So we'll ask Minister Holomisa about that. We'll talk about different issues, including the GNU. We'll talk about what he's found in the department in as far as the state of our military is concerned. We'll also talk about the state of our military. And, of course, you're more than welcome to be part of that conversation. So that's what you can expect on the show coming up over the next 3 hours. We'll start off with the open line. I'll be taking your calls on 086 000 2032 on the WhatsApp voice note line 0614 104 107.
The Stallions won the 90 minutes to go in their favor. Meanwhile, the Barria refused to stop hunting for victory. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Experience the cream of African football. Burkina Faso versus Madagascar, the Saturday 16 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
SAFM celebrates its 89th birthday this month by giving listeners an exclusive opportunity to attend the prestigious Joy of Jazz taking place at the Sandton Convention Center from the 26th to the 28th of September 2025. To stand a chance to win these sought-after tickets, simply SMS SAFM 89 followed by your name to 41391 and stay tuned to SAFM as we could be calling you. SAFM is the official media partner for the Dipala stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Entries open from the 7th of August and close on the 31st of August 2025. Winners will be randomly selected and called from the 1st of September 2025. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. T's and C's apply. Call us on 086 000 2032.
You're listening to The Talking Point. Let's start off on the open line this morning in Brits. Elliot, good morning to you.
Just Katie, and how are you?
Good, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to comment on the recent statistics of unemployment. I'm really having a view that this particular report is continuously misleading the nation. I'm a union representative, or I'm a unionist. Where it matters most, the report does not touch where it matters most. In an essence, I'm living around Brits. The Brits is a farming area. Okay, are you stay?
Yes, I am, Elliot.
Yeah. Brits is a farming area. It's a mining area. In those particular sectors is actually creating a lot of employment. A lot of employment, but the marketing strategy is not actually giving opportunity to South Africans. And that is a reality. It does not give opportunity to South Africans. It's only giving opportunity to foreign nationals. And one can say these are allegations. And these are not allegations. For simple reasons, the investors, they don't want to comply with the legislative framework. Most of these particular sectors, I will just give you an example with the security sector. there is a national minimum wage that non-members and members of the bargaining council who should comply with. But that particular area is currently now occupied by foreign national employees who does not even have what you call a serial number. Remember, for one person to work and as a security officer, one of its requirements is you must be trained, you must be registered with SIRA so that you understand the protocol in that particular sector.
So,
That
Elliot,
is not, yes.
Elliot, what
Yes,
you are
yes,
saying,
yes.
what you're saying in terms of some of the trends we are seeing around employment, I don't think it's incorrect. That is something that has now become relatively well known. But how do you believe this then affects the unemployment numbers? Because you are saying that those are wrong. What bearing does it have on those numbers?
No, I'm saying they are wrong because of the narrative that South Africa does not create jobs. South Africa does really create jobs. The only problem that we are having is a monitoring and enforcement. Solely lie into the Department of Employment. That is our challenge.
But the numbers don't necessarily track how many jobs have been created per se. They also track how many people, how many South Africans are in jobs. So,
Yeah, correct,
so when
correct.
we talk about the unemployment rate, we're talking about the number of South Africans that don't have jobs, whether we're, looking at the narrow definition or even the expanded definition of unemployment.
Correct, I'll state. But the survey must also touch or have a say to the value of creation, because if it does not touch that particular concept, it will always bring a report that is questionable to the public.
Okay.
You get the point, Cathy.
Okay, all right, Elliot.
We are at the yes, Cathy.
No, wrap it up quickly, Elliot.
Yeah, I was saying we are at the ground level. We can test this particular narrative that most of the investors, including the cadres, deployment cadres of ANC, they are not investing into South Africans. They are investing into foreign nationals for simple reason, underpayment.
Okay.
Thank you very much
All
for
right,
taking
Elliot.
my call.
Thanks
you.
for that. Look, I think those are very legitimate issues that you have raised. And often we see the Labour Department sort of explaining away why it is that this is happening at the rapid scale that it is. Because it is problematic that in some jobs that are relatively low-skilled jobs or that are not specialized, where South Africans should be in those jobs, they're not. And we're not seeing employers being held accountable to the level and to the extent that they should be. You remember what happened 2 years ago with the trucking industry? That's why truck drivers brought this country to a standstill, because issues like this are allowed to happen and there's no accountability for those who are breaking the law effectively, because that's what they're doing. They're breaking the law. Muzi, you're in Priska. Good morning. Hello, Ronald.
Sketty.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning to yourself and to the listeners. Sketty, I just want to raise this one point while we're on a dialogue about things happening, and it's again within the mineral and energy sector. Sketty, you know that in our municipality, Siatemba, I'm a councillor there, we have wind farms, we have solar, and we have the hydro plant, the Priska Power Reserve that the president always talk about that's coming. Now, Sketty, I've been fighting this thing for a long time, and I'm phrasing it as the recolonization of our ownership. The IBC has bought for our community shares in the energy project that is already existing in our municipality. Now, what is happening when they buy these shares? The shareholders or the investors, Mlilo is one of the main investors in that sector in our area. What those owners of Mlilo does, the two main owners there is Johnny Callum and Aberdeen. They have created community companies where they are the directors on those companies, and they've taken the shares that the IDC bought for the community and put those shares into those companies. Those companies then give a dividend to a trust where the community gets something from every year. But we know nothing about what happened in what they call the community companies. And this thing is happening across the Northern Cape with all the investors that is doing that. The communities don't participate. They don't know where the monies go. They see no books or any financials of these companies.
How were these individuals appointed as directors of those companies on behalf of the community?
This is exactly my fight with the Minister Mantashe and with the government. There is, for years I've been asking, give us the agreement of how these people get appointed and how money must be managed. There is nothing public, and they are saying they can't make it public. But the point now being, Cathy, is that these majority shareholders actually owns 100%, including the community share. They have control over 100% of the share, even though the government buy into these companies. The BE shareholders or the communities have no participation, have no oversight over it. And the government is saying we can't know what is happening there.
Yeah,
Nobody can know.
That doesn't make sense at all, because
not at all.
The
But
accountability rests with the community, really. Especially if these shares are on their behalf, if these directors and trustees are acting on their behalf.
No one questions it, Sis Cathy. The Minister Mantashe's office don't want to give any information. If you go on to CIPC and you go and check all of these companies, and I'm saying, Sis Cathy, across the Northern Cape, I have all of that information.
Okay.
They own everything.
Okay, Ronald, thanks for raising that issue. I'll put you back through to our producers so you can share a bit more with them offline. We're going to take the latest news headlines. It is your national roundtable. Of course, you get to set the agenda on 086 000 2032 is the number to dial, 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, angry Soweto residents have blocked off the Chris Hani Road following the killing of an e-hailing driver at Maponya Mall last night. They've also blocked the entrance to the mall. A 30-year-old man is expected to appear in the Kabokweni Magistrates Court near White River in Mpumalanga for the alleged murder of his sister. Mluleki Nkosi is accused of killing his sister, Sibongile Nkosi. And a 38-year-old man has been shot and killed in Strandfontein on the Cape Flats, and another wounded while sitting in a play park. Police say the motive for the attack is unknown. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
What is Overtrail? Is it off the beaten path, over the edge of comfort, or the thrill of the road less taken? It's over every bridge, every obstacle, every trail, and over to that view that takes your breath away. Overtrail means going further, exploring deeper, surrounded by the comfort and sophistication of a luxury SUV. It's this spirit that inspired the Overtrail project. Experience Overtrail in the LX and GX range. Lexus. Experience amazing.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The national elephants have to illustrate that they can rise with victory, but the desert foxes believe they will find the path to the quarterfinals. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch Guinea versus Algeria this Friday, 15 August at 4 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Good morning, Cathy. I think you're asking the question that I raised yesterday in a different way, because I was saying, for some strange reason, I've never understood why the ANC has never prioritized local government. You have well-qualified officials, as you know, your municipal managers and your CFOs being under control of clueless and least qualified local councillors who have no clue on how to run government at that level, yet are put in place. Why has the ANC never prioritized local government? Because that's where services are rendered. That's the cold face of government. That's the face of government. It doesn't make sense to me. Absolutely doesn't. Debbie, thanks, bye.
Good morning, Sis Cathy. This is Mbongo Sundisa. Sis Cathy, it's totally wrong, man, for people to kill one another, more especially just like killing someone for money. You see those kids, the kids of the gentleman that they killed there at Maponya Mall, they gonna suffer because their dad was trying to help their family by raising his kids. But now he's no more. Tomorrow they will call his kids Amapara because of their own doing. Who's gonna take care of those kids now since they killed their father? Oh, people can be very cruel. Wow.
Good morning, Cathy. Just to touch on my administrations and poor service delivery in the local government. You know, the issue is to put and employ people who are not capacitated with relevant skills to actually execute those services and give them to the beneficiaries. If you put someone there who is not even qualified for that particular job, how would you expect that particular individual to execute such duties? It is heavy content for him, you know. So we're not led. Dex from Bloemfontein. Thank you.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
Yeah, thanks for those WhatsApp voice notes that you've started sending through on the line. I agree, with what you have said about local government and service delivery or the lack thereof. There really has to be greater impetus to change the situation as it stands today. Nora, you're in Heidelberg. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Cathy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I'm well. Cathy, I have a bit of an update regarding the interview you had about the Kageleng land release program in Rwanda in Heidelberg.
Yes, I think we spoke to MEC Cathy Mohlahlana about
correct.
what is happening there and why it is that the stands that were released to residents, why there have been these difficulties around those stands, right?
That's correct, yes. Regarding the services where they wanted 20,000 rand from us to open services. Now, Tasneem went along and she had another interview with our radio station, Lesedi, and she still said there that we do not pay for the services to be connected. We only pay for what we're going to use. Now, when we went again to Lesedi municipality, Lesedi actually put the price up. So now to open the water is now 4,300 rand. And electricity from 15,000 rand is now 20,000 rand. So instead of resolving it, they've actually put it up.
But that goes against the spirit of what MEC Mohlahlana had said to us. Because the commitment was that they were going to go back to have a conversation with the municipality, because there was also service level agreements that were supposed to be signed around acknowledging that, yes, these stands might not necessarily be going to indigent households, but they are certainly going to households that are on your lower income spectrum. And
It's,
so
from
expecting
3,000
them, yes.
people who earn 3,500 to 7,000. Now, here's the worst part of it. Last week on Wednesday, I managed to get the 4,000 rand that they want to open my water, because it's difficult, to live without water. I went to the municipality on Wednesday. When I arrived there, they said that, okay, go and pay. I fill up the form. As I arrived to pay this, some gentleman came and he asked me, why do I want to pay to open the water? I said, because I stay there without water. He said, no, nobody's staying there. So they don't even know that we're staying here, we've built here. But when we're building, they bring inspectors to check. You must bring an inspector when you do your, what do you call this? When you start building, the inspector must come in. So they're sending inspectors, but he says nobody's living here. I said, no, there's about 12 families already living here, including myself.
Yeah. Okay,
He says,
Nora.
no, they're staying there illegally.
Yeah, look, we're going to have to go back. We'll have to go back. Thanks for that update, and just find out what exactly is going on, because I know that for the 12 families that are there, these are the people that have been able to make some kind of means to even move in to that area. Thanks for bringing it up again, Nora. Muzi, you're in eThekwini. Good morning.
Taking my call. I'd like to speak about this Louis Maybeck bribery accusation, I call it.
IDT?
Yes.
Yes.
Because as of until today, we are still calling it's an allegation.
Yes.
That the lady was bribing a journalist,
yes.
Of which we have saw. There is an evidence. There is a video. You can even see what kind of money was it. It was 200 rand notes. It's just that he didn't count it to see that it's 60,000, but we saw it's 200 rand. So it's not according to me, it's not an allegation anymore. In fact, from there, the police were supposed to go straight to this lady and her colleague and arrest them. So that they can go and explain themselves to the court of law. Remember, when we were growing up, when the police are seeing you doing something wrong, they used to arrest you and say you have a right to remain silent. Everything you say will be used against you in the court of law and all those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, people are doing something wrong in public. There is evidence. People are still roaming the streets, and the police are folding the arms because it's still an allegation. I don't think we're using yes, I do not understand English that well, but I don't think that this thing is still an allegation, honestly.
Look,
the person's supposed to be in jail.
Muzi, how it works, within our legal framework is that the only time it ceases to be an allegation is when there has now been a conviction through the court system, a ruling that says that this person is found guilty. Until then, remember, our law does give the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Yes, there is the video that we have seen, but it still has to undergo the court process. That's why, even with other crimes where somebody has murdered, you might have it on video footage that this person killed another individual, they've been arrested. It's an allegation until they're convicted within a court of law.
Now, is the lady arrested now? The lady and her partner arrested now?
Look, and was it the Minister of Public Works who's opened a case of bribery? The minister's opened a case of bribery. I think that happened last week. But no, there's been no arrest.
I think we should agree that we need to change the law and the constitution in this country. We cannot have a situation like that. People are breaking the law and are still roaming around the street, and they still have a chance to for their stories to be spoken about. I think it looks like.
Oh, it looks like we've lost Muzi on the line. Apologies for that, Muzi. Yeah, we do need to see quicker action. We do need to see quicker action. The police must explain what exactly are they investigating, and when then are they likely to be done with the investigations to effect arrests in these matters. We're going to take a quick break. I'm back with you with more of your calls.
4-time World Rugby Champions, the Springboks, want to emphasize their winning mentality. However, the Wallabies are going all out to upset the reigning global champs. This is the Rugby Championship. Experience world-class rugby action. South Africa collides with Australia on Saturday, 16 August at 5:10, live on SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by 30 September.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
We continue the conversation on the open line, still taking your calls on 086 000 2032. Let me go to Buffalo City. Neil, good morning to you.
Good day. Hello, Cathy. This subject is on tourism safety. I've been at this issue for many, many, many years. Recently, I wrote to the minister again. I actually wrote initially last November. The Wild Coast is decimated. The reports are like 90% decline in tourism.
90%, Neil?
Yes.
Is that post-COVID?
Last year.
Sure.
When tourists are attacked, and again it's happening now. People are getting slaughtered. Anyway, the big issue that I'm bringing up is the conduct of the Minister of Tourism. I've been relentlessly trying to contact you guys since Monday. Patricia DeLow was again on this propaganda thing about, tourism, great, very nice. But why doesn't she answer communication? Even last night, after 5 o'clock, I had officials from her office phoning me, trying to placate me and stymie the concerns about tourism. It's just very, very strange.
So Neil, just to understand, you've written to the minister asking her. What specifically did you ask her?
I've asked her to interact with a local. Like I communicated with Derek Honeycomb 10 years ago. I asked him to communicate with local government to just cooperate, and it's not happening.
Cooperate with who? Cooperate with who?
Cooperate with everybody that's trying to make safe tourism. People like me that ask questions that get absolutely no response.
And
Actually,
are you in the tourism sector, Neil?
I am just a human rights activist.
Okay.
I've been at this for decades.
Mm.
I'm fully involved in environmental activism, and I got drawn into it because I was utterly disgusted by attacks of people on our beaches.
Mm.
Okay, so I was drawn into it. Okay, so I activated against that. But I want to highlight something that happened on the 19th of July at the RCC building. Very expensive, big event that took place with the deputy minister was supposed to be there, a very prominent conservationist, ex-Queen Scorpion director. He called for the walkout of that meeting. There was a meeting supposed to be held specifically on tourism safety at the RCC building in East London, Buffalo City. And it was such a non-show of Patricia de Lille's cabal that Dr. de Villiers asked for a walkout. It was reported in the Daily Dispatch on the 21st, on the next Monday. They walked out because of the disgust. There is a serious problem.
Okay.
The Wild Coast is being decimated, as in tourism. Okay.
Neil?
There is I've just one day ago I heard there is possibly a link to mining, the Guedemantashe cabal.
Okay, Neil,
to denude
the
Wild Coast of tourism. It is a very serious disaster.
You've made
right
the point, Neil. You've made the point. Here's what we're going to do. We'll take down your contacts. I'll also put you back to the producers. We'll need to, try and get a bit more into what you have said, and then we'll see how best we take it forward. But if you have a decline of 90% tourism in an area, think about the businesses in that area. How are they affected? Hotels, bed and breakfast, the tourist attractions, and those are all jobs. What is happening then to jobs in the area? So it's a very important question, Neil, that you've brought up today. Sylvester, you're in the Northern Cape. Good morning.
Morning, Ms. Cathy.
Yes, sir.
Today, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I called because my heart is bleeding with this crime in this country. Seems like these people who are in charge in this country, they are benefiting on it. People are killing each other every day. Well, in COVID, they took out soldiers to stand on our streets to read the shedings that they were selling alcohol on the lockdown. But now people are killing each other with guns, which are in our house. They are not taking out soldiers. They are not saying anything. The police, they can't fight this crime alone. There is too many guns in this country. The Cape Flats, every day they are killing each other there. They are not taking the soldiers there to take all those guns which are there. The guns that are in our house, there is nowhere we can put them. They are inside our house. Now our soldiers, they are sitting. They are not doing anything. They are waiting for the command to go out and fight this crime. They want to fight it, but they are waiting for the go-ahead so that they can fight this crime.
But in what ways, Sylvester, in what ways would the soldiers fight crime? And I certainly haven't seen any communication from the SANDF that says we stand ready to be called upon to fight crime in South Africa. That's not part of their responsibility. It's not part of their core mandate.
Yeah, they are our brothers and sisters. We live with them. We call them. them, they are ready. It's just that the people who are in charge, they don't want to send them out. But how they can fight it, it's where they go house to house, looking for the guns. It's when they can fight it, roadblocks, every day. Like COVID, there were roadblocks. No one was allowed to pass those roadblocks without knowing where he's going. So,
but that's
how
something
we
that
can
the
fight it.
police can do, Sylvester.
Yeah, but the police are too little. If we do the roadblock, the 50 police are, or 20 police are in one place. It means out there on our towns, police are not visible because they are in one place. So they need help with soldiers.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Sylvester, I hear you. We have seen some instances where, SANDF members have been called on. We've seen it previously in the Cape Flats. What was the result of that? What was the outcome? Did things get better? Have things gotten better? Did they get worse? Do they stay the same? And sometimes we're dealing just with the symptom of a problem, but not actually uprooting it. Think about when the SANDF was deployed to the mines to root out effectively the Zamazamas, as we were told. What was the outcome of that? Did it stop the problem? Do we even know what happened to that process? There are no easy solutions. There are no easy solutions, and we're going to have to make peace with the fact that the hard work needs to be put in. We have to fix the things that are broken, the institutions that are broken. We need to fix them. Anonymous, you're in Gqeberha. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, yes, Anonymous.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to say that I have a problem, okay? I've been to the municipality. It's called Assistance to the Poor. And I've been from pillar to post, going to the ward councillor in my area as well, in Kabega, and of no assistance. And then I've been to the law courts, and it's actually, it's like a family problem. My big brother, apparently my mom passed away last year. And September last year, the 24th. And he doesn't seem to want to help us because he's the executive of the ward.
So, Anonymous, so you are battling currently with who? With the municipality?
Yes.
What do you need from the municipality?
The municipality is forking out bills that is ridiculously expensive, and I can't afford to pay it because I am struggling. I was looking after my mom for a very long time, but since she died recently, he's been in charge over the world, and he's very... he feels that, no, they're going to come to him to collect the money, and he's refusing to help me whatsoever.
Who is he?
My brother.
Oh, your
He's
brother. So now
because
you have to pay the bill effectively.
Exactly, and I don't have that capital.
And the house was in whose name?
No, you see, in my culture, Cathy,
Yeah.
the girls get nothing. Apparently, only
yes,
the boys
okay.
inherit.
Okay.
So my mom left it for the 4 boys, but because he's the executive of the world,
Yeah.
his wife is also very selfish because she's originally from China.
But Anonymous, if the bill that you're getting reflects what you have been using throughout the month, there's nothing the municipality can do, because ultimately you have to pay for the service that you're using.
Yes, I do understand that, Cathy, but we used to get assistance to the poor for this. And all I'm asking him is just to help so that we can get that little bit that the municipality helps. And then the rest of it, we were prepared to fork it out. But now it's extremely...
So effectively, you want to apply to qualify as an indigent household.
But he doesn't. I actually do qualify for it, Cathy.
Okay.
But he refused to help us. He's so selfish.
Sure.
He said you must fork it out. He doesn't care where we get it. Even if you scratch in the bin, you rob the bank. you got to do what it takes.
Yeah, it sounds like quite a complicated situation that you're involved with, Anonymous.
Yes.
So how did you think we could help you?
I thought that maybe with the right channels, isn't it possible that maybe we could speak to the attorney that my mom went through?
Yeah, but why
BDO?
why don't you speak to the attorney?
And I don't know if he can help us because he's so selfish. He tells us things, he says things, and then none of us even get to go to it.
Yeah, look, the best I can do is maybe put you in touch with Brian, Anonymous. He might have better advice than I do. He deals with this kind of thing all the time. But I certainly don't know what else you can do outside of trying to resolve the situation with your brother. It seems that it's going to have to come down to that. But let's get you in touch with Brian. He might have better advice for you on how to manage some of these affairs, especially if it all has to do with estates, etc., etc. Let me end it up with Magdalene in Mangaung. Good morning, Magdalene.
Cathy, we've got a problem in South Africa, the lawlessness. Like you already said, that we need to deal with the cause. So before 1994, South Africa, no matter the apartheid, but had a law. And it's still having the law. The problem is that nobody is interested to implement the law, especially the ANC government, because they had their own intention of bringing South Africa into lawlessness. The law that is in here is only applicable to the South Africans. No.
Okay, all right. Apologies for that. It looks like our lines have dropped. Magdalene, I'm so sorry about that. You weren't able to finish making your point. Okay, so what we'll do is that we will go to the latest news update, and then on the other side of that 10 o'clock update is Municipal Watch.
In our top stories, Soweto residents protest e-hailing killing and UN talks on tackling plastic pollution. Good morning. Please note that the following story contains graphic details which could upset sensitive listeners, including children. Angry Soweto residents have blocked off the Chris Hani Road following the killing of an e-hailing driver at Maponya Mall. They've also blocked the entrance to the mall, saying they cannot operate following last night's incident. Taxi operators tried to reopen the busy road, but the situation turned volatile. This resident says it cannot be business as usual.
I was here. I didn't sleep for the whole night I've been here. Can you imagine seeing someone like a human being taking out of the car and his body stuck on that steel of the chair burned to ashes. And they had to, scrabble him outside. Then it's okay. And this mall must operate as normal. You can even see now. They open this gate as usual. Everything is fine. Back to business. Who are we? We are animals. We can die every day.
A 30-year-old man is expected to appear in the Kabokweni Magistrates Court near White River in Mpumalanga for the alleged murder of his sister. Mluleki Nkosi is accused of killing his sister Spongile Nkosi. Her body was found buried in a shallow grave at their home by police a year later after she was murdered. The accused confessed to police and pointed where he had buried the body. A 38-year-old man has been shot and killed in Strandfontein on the Cape Flats and another wounded while sitting in a play park. Police spokesperson Wesley Twigg says the motive for the attack is unknown. No arrests have been made.
A 38-year-old male was declared deceased on the scene by medical personnel, while a 40-year-old male was taken to a medical facility for medical treatment. According to reports, the victims were sitting in the play park when a grey vehicle stopped and the occupants got out of the vehicle, opened fire on the victims before fleeing the scene. The motive for the attack forms part of the police investigation. Murder and attempted murder cases were registered for investigation.
The family of a missing pensioner is now appealing to the public for any information that would help to find him. Munsami Naidu, age 72, left his home on foot on Sunday morning at Crowder, south of Durban. Naidu has been diagnosed with dementia, has not been seen since. Dawn Gounder, spokesperson for the search and rescue organization, says Naidu's family is deeply concerned over his whereabouts.
Mr. Muntyami Naidu, 72 years old, is a resident of Crowder. It is in the vicinity of Ankomas. He was last seen on the 10th of August 2025. There have been a missing persons report that has been documented at the Ankomas SAPS. On the day that Mr. Naidu had gone missing, he had left his place of residence in the Crowder area on foot, and he was en route to New Haven.
The SANDF chief, Rudzani Mapwanya, has been officially remanded for reported comments he made against Israel and support for Palestine during a recent visit to Iran. International Relations has issued a rare rebuke stating that the department and the presidency only handle South Africa's international relations. The Department of Defense has echoed the criticism in their own statement. Mapwanya is expected to meet with Minister Angie Motshekga upon his return. This comes on the back of the EU threatening Iran with sanctions for not engaging in talks on its nuclear program, and the US cancelling military exercises with the SANDF, which was supposed to take place in the Free State in the last minute. UN talks on tackling plastic pollution have been thrown into disarray after several countries rejected a draft text hours before the deadline. A bloc of countries seeking more ambitious action on limiting plastic production said it was not legally binding. The second part of the fifth session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, which is developing a worldwide legally enforceable instrument on plastic pollution, began on the 5th of this month in Geneva. The BBC's Esme Stallard explains the delay.
After 2 years of negotiations, it seems countries could not be further from a deal. A group of more than 100 nations, including the UK, rejected the latest draft as it did not include any measures to curb the production of plastic or mandatory requirements to limit toxic chemicals. Petro-states such as Saudi Arabia, that have long called for plastic production limits to be stripped from the treaty, said it also crossed their red lines.
Recapping the top story, angry Soweto residents have blocked off the Chris Hani Road following the killing of an e-hailing driver at Maponya Mall. They've also blocked the entrance to the mall. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen.
Central African Republic have a secret plan to shock the hosts. However, Taifa Stars want to continue with their winning rhythm. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Experience spectacular action of African football. Central African Republic versus Tanzania. The Saturday 16 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
It's 8 after 10 o'clock. Welcome to the second hour of the show. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be getting into Municipal Watch. Today, we'll be focusing on the Nkomazi local municipality. And as always, you know, if you are from that part of town, or perhaps you've done work in that municipality, you have family, you've got relatives there, we'd really, really want to hear from you too, because it is the experience, the collective experience of people that are in a particular area that helps to build a picture and shape what is really happening there. In an ideal world, with Municipal Watch, every Thursday would go to the municipality where the municipality that we're featuring. That's what would happen in an ideal world, so that we are able to see for ourselves and, talk to residents and get that experience with the people in the communities. Given the fact that that is currently unable to happen, the next best option is that we hear from those of you that are in these areas. It enriches the conversation so much more. So I'm encouraging you to participate in the conversation and let us know what you know about the municipality. Okay, that's coming up shortly. Lots of WhatsApp voice notes and text messages. It's actually a mixed bag this morning. I also see many of you are sending messages about the national dialogue, which is set to get underway tomorrow. Of course, the presidency says it's all systems go. The conveners say it's all systems go. So we will be at UNISA for pretty much the whole day tomorrow. If you listen to SAFM, we'll be bringing you the latest live from the national dialogue. So many of you also speaking about the national dialogue, and it's really about whether or not you support the process. Let's take those voice notes and then get into Municipal Watch.
Yeah, no, how's Cathy? It's MJ from George. I agree with your previous caller here. The issue of being proven guilty before we can say you're guilty, I think, it's a problematic one, because we know that you can see someone murder someone, have video of that, but then the court might not find you guilty of murder because of some silly technicalities by the person who was collecting evidence. But that's the problem, and it seems like we've given moral power to the courts as if the courts don't have those weaknesses. The fact of the matter is that you can't get away with murder in the literal sense. You can look at the case of O.J. Simpson, and others.
Good morning, Siskati. Mbongo, Sundisa. Yes, Siskati, can the National Commissioner of SAPS and the Provincial Commissioner of SAPS in Western Cape do raids in Western Cape, Mitchell's Plain, Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Manenberg, all those areas starting from Langa. Just like invite soldiers, go with them, security companies, go raid, do raids there overnight. I'm telling you, you'll get like thousands of guns there. Why is it every day in Cape Town people are killed daily? 1, 2, or 3 every day. Every weekly you're gonna hear on the news so much people have been killed in Cape Town. It's too much, man. Thanks, Siskati.
Morning, Cathy. I know, Cathy. Aziyakhala eKapa. Siyakhala isibhamu lapha eKapa lapha. Yo, eCape Flats. Where are the police there? Why don't the government put the soldier in Cape Flats, around Cape Flats, like they did during COVID-19? Abantu bayashona ngale. Every day you call spam. No. We can't go on like this. I think police are now tired of collecting dead body every day. No. Something must be done. Kathy, thank you, my sister.
Cathy, there's no political will to root out corruption, to root out crime or reduce crime. The president was in the Oval Office in Washington. Rupert spoke about the Cape Flats and the crime that is taking place, which is every single day. Chanel 2.0 was supposed to be launched We have not seen that. So I think there's a conspiracy, not even conspiracy, an attempt to sabotage the Western Cape, the Cape Flats. And I think they want DA to be seen as not doing anything. But yes, we're calling out the DA as well. We have not heard from them. Teresa Cape Town.
Morning, Sisiketi. These motorbike drivers, those scooters who make deliveries, most of them, they don't even have an ID, no passport, no visa. But what do they have? Just a motorcycle license. And some of the Uber drivers just are like that. They don't have passport, nothing. Only the driver's license. Vimba, that on 157 channel, exposed where in Hillbrow you can get a driver's license, you can get a foreign ID, a foreign passport in Hillbrow there. So there is no question of legality, illegality. You understand? There's a problem there. There's a problem. Norman from Brixton.
The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
They were more than just songs. They were the backdrop to your best days and the ones that change everything. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, brings you iconic classics and hidden gems that spoke to your heart then and still do now. Whether you're driving, relaxing, or just remembering, let the music take you right back. The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay. It's about your past, your story, and it's all right here on your favorite station, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m.
This is SAFM. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Municipal Watch, bringing your local issues on the national agenda. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Well, we continue the conversation this morning on Municipal Watch. Our focus is in Mpumalanga, the Nkomazi local district municipality, which falls under the Entlazeni district municipality. We're going to be looking at some of the difficulties that the municipality has been facing. Just in the last week, workers staged a protest, or rather I should say in June rather. They took to the streets protesting around municipalities and also the severe financial constraint that the municipality was facing, to the extent that workers only received half of their salaries. There, of course, are also complaints around the state of service delivery. This includes the state of the roads, the provision of water. These are some of the key issues that residents have also raised. Oscar Nkosi is the acting municipal manager at Nkomazi local municipality. He joins us this morning for this conversation. Oscar, good morning. Good morning, Oscar.
Good morning, Katie. Good morning, and good morning to your listeners as well. Thank you.
Nkosinathi Mkhwanazi is the SAMU secretary at the Nkomazi local municipality. Nkosinathi, good morning.
Good morning, and as well as to your listeners at home.
And Abraham Gwebu is a resident in Boschfontein. Abraham, good morning to you.
Good morning, ma'am, and the listeners at home.
Nkosinati, I want to begin this conversation with listening to your own reflections on the state of affairs. As workers, you protested on the municipality's doorstep, raising several concerns about the state that it is in. Speak to us about what had sparked that protest, as I've touched on some of the issues, but perhaps in your own words. Yes, Nkosinati?
The situation of the municipality currently, as we are speaking to you, is unbearable, particularly on the side of the workers, but in particular members of SAMU, because we've been notifying management with regard to the elements that we have been observing as union representing workers, that the way they are operating this institution might head for a collapse, because in most cases they've been doing things without comprehensive consultation with the workers. And at the end of the day, the workers are the ones who must bear the brunt of all the incumbents that have not been done by them workers, especially. So in that regard, they end up imposing cost curtailments without consultation, and even when we try to engage them, they are always dick and diving, or let me say dilly-dallying, in addressing or attending to those matters in good faith, which then resulted to the rupture that we end up having towards the submission of the memorandum, which was also extended to COCTA at the provincial level.
Tell us about what has been happening and maybe give us practical examples. So when you say it's become unbearable for workers, what exactly is unbearable? What were the decisions that have been made where there was no consultation? What has gone into cost curtailment as you describe it?
We are of the view that the management is not honest with regard to the fact as to where have the money to pay workers gone. Like, for an example, workers in this institution for the past 15 years, there are departments that are regarded as a nucleus of service delivery, particularly waste collection, water provision, electricity, disaster management, and the likes, which were working, say, overtime and standby, and also attending to emergency work. But to our surprise, they never presented any document to us, but we were told that the National Treasurer and the Provincial Treasurer has indicated that we are bloated in terms of salaries, and as a result of that, the recommendation was that they are paying too much overtime, which we think they are not telling the whole story with regard to what are the other items that led to them giving a presentation to Treasurer that resulted to say we must have this thing called cost curtailment, which then only becomes the issue of overtimes and standbys. And in this situation, if I may put it clearly, if one has managed to live with a salary of overtimes, when he went maybe say to the bank to request for a loan, he can be given the loan depending on with the determination that he has overtime and standby in his or her salary. But out of the blue, when that benefit of some kind is removed, then the life of that person or individual must now then be subjected to some kind of adjustment which you were not, say, informed properly, which then lead to the unfairness in the sight of the workers. Hence, we are saying, when we engage management, we said we don't have a problem with them removing that benefit. But the fact of the matter is that they should have consulted with us and at least give us some time to adjust to the situations, because we understand we are not here to collapse the municipality, because it is not going to end with us today, but it must also cater for the coming generation.
And as things stand, and I like the fact that you touched on overtime and standby not being an entitlement, right? But I get the broader point that you're making, that people have come to rely and depend on whatever additional money they were getting from this overtime. So it does have a direct bearing on how they're able then to manage their finances. Were the salaries that were short, have those been paid in full now?
Yes, they've been paid on the 4th of July as per the commitment made on the 23rd. And I'm also tempted to believe that the third parties that were supposed to be paid on the 7th of July as well, they must have been paid by now. Though we're not getting the information and have confirmation as to really that has happened, because sometimes some other members receive messages from their pensions or medical aid to say that they had outstanding subscriptions for maybe say for the past 2 months or for that particular month. Hence, we cannot be so sure that the amount has been paid full, particularly on the benefits of third parties like your medical aid and pension funds.
Okay.
Including as well funeral covers, etc.
Okay. Nkosinathi, I'm going to ask you to pause it there. Abraham, you are a resident. You live in Boschfontein. Tell us about what the state of affairs, at least in as far as you have experienced it in your area, is.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the opportunity that is given to me. I'm Abraham Lawrence Pilger, the community member of Nkomazi sub-region. We've got a very big problem when it comes to our municipality, especially with the service delivery. We've got too many issues about our municipality. Because when they allocate the budget from the national to our province, our sub-regions, we don't see that amount of money being maybe dispatched to the various departments and get us assisted by those amounts that they are getting from the budget. So we are having problems. As we speak now, we've got an issue in Nasi. There's a village called Nasi. The people from municipality are selling water with the water tank from the municipality. They are selling it to the community of Nasi. Sometimes that community can maybe stay about a month without the water, and the water is a very basic need. Everyone needs water. You go to the toilet, you need to flush. You drink water. You've got elders that need water, or you can't go around looking for water, so we need to have water. Those water tanks must supply people with water. So that's the problem that we are facing there by now. Even when you go to Tonga, Hospital, it's been years without that tower being fixed by the municipality. And then every time they can tell you that the money is allocated to for that road to be fixed, but there's no such. Even the condition, the nurses are mistreating patients. I remember umuntu omdala oke washaya unurse lapha up until washona. There's someone there wamthatha ama-stitches khona kulesa sibhedlela lesa, but akukho la the municipality interfere khona in that regard. They interfere and check if maybe they can sort out that issue. So service delivery, our municipality are failing us big time. And
okay, Abraham, before you continue,
yes.
I want to go back to the issue of water before I come to what you've said about the health services. Who, as far as you know, is responsible for the water tankers? Is it the municipality or is it independent service providers?
No, it's the municipality is the one who is responsible for water tanks. Like if maybe the pipes that are transporting water from the dam or whatsoever, or the main tank, maybe it's broken whatsoever, the municipality is supposed to issue or dispatch the trucks and go to that.
Yes. So what I'm asking you is, do you know if it's municipal officials that are going around driving those trucks, or has the service been outsourced to a third party?
No, it is not outsourced to a third party. Those drivers who are driving trucks are selling water, and then sometimes they can break or steal the pumps in order for them to make money by selling water. That is why too many people bought water tanks in order for them to benefit from selling water to the people. So those people who are working for the municipality are the ones who are stealing those pumps in order for them to make money. Some of them, they are owning water tanks.
Sure, okay. And this is part of what you say you have seen in your community.
Yes, some of the things that we are experiencing. Even when you go down to Trikopis, there's a main tank that is moving water from the village called Trikopis to the one that is in Boschfontein. So sometimes it doesn't take even a month to be broken. So they keep on fixing the very same thing each and every time, and when it breaks, so it takes the community about maybe about 2-3 weeks without water. And there's a main pipe that has been installed recently. It has been installed by.
Okay. Abraham, let me do this. We're going to continue with this conversation shortly. We're looking at the Nkomazi local municipality, some of the challenges there. Let's take the latest news headlines. We'll continue with Municipal Watch shortly.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines on SAFM, I am Ondalambana, and a very good morning. Angry Soweto residents are threatening to shut down Waponya Mall for 7 days until its management comes with a solution to protect shoppers, e-hailing drivers, and everyone who visits the mall. The residents have blocked off Crisano Road, not allowing anyone in and out of the mall. 4 people between the ages of 16 and 38 have been wounded in a shooting in the Jimsabos informal settlement in Philippi on the Cape Flats. And the Gauteng Early Childhood Development Forum is set to march to the Premier's office in Johannesburg today to raise concerns about the challenges faced in the sector. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Taking a look at your markets this morning, the rand is currently trading at 17 rand 58 to the dollar, 23 rand 84 to the pound, and 20 rand 53 to the euro. Markets in Asia were mixed at the closing bell. The JCE also in mid-morning trade. Mixed in mid-morning trade rather. Markets in Europe are mainly higher. Gold is trading at $3,351. Platinum $1,338 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $65.96 a barrel.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the art and heart of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, Umu Sankare, Ababemu, Jasmia Horn, Silent Law and the Noisemakers, Najbonk Trio, Michelle Ndingio-Cello, Willem Siini, Gabby Mutuba and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Last year's finalists, Stellies, are on a mission to graduate to this year's final, while Babina Nuku want to do the talking on the battlefield. This is the MTN8 First Leg Semi-Final. Wafa Wafa. Don't miss out on Stellenbosch FC versus Sikukune United on Saturday, 16 August at 5:30 p.m. live on SABC 1 and SABC Plus. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Hi, I'm Khomotso KG Mweketi, and I believe in music's ability to connect, to heal, to remind, and to bring joy. And each week on my Saturday and Sunday show Seasons right here on SAFM, I endeavor to do just that. So join the movement of Seasons every Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's addictive. You might invite a friend. Seasons, only on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide with me, KG Mweketi. Because where words fail, music speaks.
Municipal Watch, bringing your local issues on the national agenda. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
You're listening to The Talking Point. We're continuing with Municipal Watch. On the line, Oscar Nkosi is the acting municipal manager at Nkomazi Local Municipality. Nkosinathi Mkhwanazi is the SAMO secretary at the municipality, and Abraham Gwebu is a resident in Boschfontein. Also speaking then about some of the grievances that they have as residents. So Abraham, I think you've highlighted the extent to which water is a challenge. You also said something earlier about the treatment that residents receive at the local health facilities. The story that you told about a patient who was an elderly patient who was beaten by a nurse. What is the veracity of that story? Is it true? What you're saying true? Or is it one of those stories that, people start speaking about in the community, but nobody ever goes to verify whether this has actually happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Abraham?
Okay, yes, ma'am. It is true. Even the municipality knows about that. The community of Nkomazi sub-region, they know about it. Let me just firstly finish about the issue of water. The issue of water, the municipality is even last when they were struggling about paying the workers, they were even owing the copper where we get water to supply our Lumati zones, where we've got maybe 14 watts into that zone. So they were owing the company called Copper money. Then Copper switched off their pumps in order to supply water to Lumati zone, which is having 14 watts on it. So the issue of the hospital, it is true. They are mistreating the patient. They beat up one of the nurses, the old lady, like and then he get beaten up by the nurse for doing that. So even the road going to that hospital is very bad. Mr. Nkosi knows it very well. If maybe he is from this sub-region, they know. Even the municipal manager, mayor, they know about these issues.
All right, Abraham, thank you for that. Oscar Nkosi, you are the acting municipal manager in that municipality. You have heard the full range of issues that have been raised, at least within this conversation. Let's start with firstly what is happening in the municipality and what seem to be financial challenges that the municipality is facing. Do you have enough money to administer your affairs currently? And are you operating with a budget that is funded?
Thank you very much, Katie, and good morning again to yourself and the listeners as well as the public of Nkomazi, the local municipality. You are posing two questions at the outset, and let me deal with both of them so that I then lay the foundation for what I'm about to present. The first question is that do we have enough money to run the affairs or administer the affairs of the municipality? The answer, directly is that not enough money. And then the second question that you posed is that are we currently operating under a funded budget? And the answer is no, not fully. So let me explain what it is that has brought about the financial woes of the municipality, so that we give a proper perspective, so that the public, particularly of Nkomazi, gets to understand what it is that has led to the current financial dire straits that the municipality is. I think on or about or around July, June, September, somewhere there, of 2021, the municipality had budgeted posts amounting to about 179 or so. But the unfortunate part is that, the municipality took on more people than it actually budgeted for at that particular point in time. So
just to clarify, Oscar, you
Yes?
gave a figure of 109. Is it 109 positions or to the value of 109 million rand on the municipality's finances?
About 179 positions. So it's not the rent value, but it's the actual positions that were available and budgeted for at that time. You got that?
Yes, I do. And how much was the value, the rand value of these positions?
Well, I don't have that specific figure
Okay.
right now, but yes, but it was budgeted for 479 positions, as it were. But the point I want to make is this. Instead of appointing 179, the municipality ended up appointing close to about 400 individuals to fill these positions. So then, unfortunately, this caused a major problem in bloating the structure of the administrative or, organizational structure of the municipality. But because the municipality was quite financially stable at the time, for a good 2.5, 3 years, the municipality did not feel this particular pressure of the additional positions that were filled, which were not catered for in the budget. Until about last year, around July 2024, around May, July, where the reserves of the municipality were depleted, and then that is when the actual annual fiscus of the municipality started to take direct strain. This is what then brought about the issue of an unfunded budget, because the structure is bloated, and that is factual.
How much is your annual budget?
Let me break it into three components. We receive around 900 million from equitable share allocation, about 913, but let's call it 900 million just to round it off. And then we are able to raise about 400 million from our own internal sources, meaning from revenue that we collect from our clients, the public that we service with water and so on. And then we receive an additional 350 odd million from National Treasury or conditional, grants in terms of improving infrastructure for water and so on. So those are conditional grants. So it's around 1.7 billion in total.
What is your salary bill currently?
I'm happy you are asking that question. It's 812 million, roughly, per annum.
So you are basically spending the bulk of your budget on salaries.
Spot on.
How was this situation allowed to happen?
That's the point I'm making. That's why I want to drive this point home, that it's not a situation that has just occurred now all of a sudden. It's as a result of a decision which I don't think was properly, arrived at in 2021, as I'm saying. And unfortunately, when you recruit staff and you put them into the salary budget of the municipality and they are appointed permanently, it's a burden that will stay with you for the longest of time.
When were you brought into the municipality?
Me, myself now?
Yes.
Around the 2nd of June, this past June, 2025.
Okay, so you've been in the municipality for less than about 2 to 3 months. Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 months.
So this is the situation that you are saying you have walked into.
Yeah, look, it's less about me as an individual and more about, what it is that we need to do collectively to turn the situation around. But yes, personally, I've been at the helm for the past 2.5 months now.
Are there any investigations that you are conducting to get to the bottom of how this happened in the first place?
100%. So the MEC of Cooperative Governance in Mpumalanga has appointed a team of investigators in terms of what we call Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act to thoroughly investigate all of these issues that I've just raised. So there's a team of independent forensic, investigators that have been, such an investigation has been instituted and accepted by council on or about the 2nd of July, if I'm not mistaken, thereabouts. So there is a formal forensic investigation that is currently going on and looking into these very issues that I've just raised.
Part of the difficulty here is that on the one hand, yes, you've got a very bloated staff complement. Yeah. But on the other, what it means is that there should be some level of efficiency that is seen. Yeah. With all of these people that the municipality is employing, there shouldn't be anything broken. There shouldn't be anything that isn't working, because what are all of these people doing?
Once again, I'm glad you are posing this question, Casey, and I think Nkosinathi would tell you that is the exact question that I've asked in our recent local labor forum meeting, as recent as last week, Wednesday or thereabouts, to say, we hear all of these issues and this outcry about overtime, standbys, and so on. We get that. But let's start here. Let's start, from the basic things that we are supposed to do. Do our employees come to work? We start work at 7:30 and finish off at 4 o'clock every day. And we've got, by the way, a total staff complement of 1,421, according to the latest records, or thereabouts. Now, do all of these people come to work at 7:30, do the work that they must do diligently, honestly, and in a committed manner until 4 o'clock at the basic minimum? That is what we expect. And then, after that, if there's still certain things that may need to be done, management must still approve overtime. And let me just clarify this issue of overtime and the issue that Nkosinathi raised, that there was no consultation. If we all agree that in the municipality, there are, let me put it this way, we've got what we call collective bargaining agreements, administered by the South African Local Government Bargaining Council. And this particular collective agreement talks to the conditions of service for municipal employees. And it is currently applicable until 2029. But of interest, I want to point to this particular issue of overtime, that any overtime that must be worked must be approved by a municipal manager or his delegate. So it's not necessarily a given that overtime shall be a benefit or an entitlement, as you correctly asked that particular question. But it will be a function of management whether there is a need for it or not. And this is already agreed, this particular process of doing things is already agreed at bargaining council, and the parties that are signatories to this particular collective agreement, it's SALGA representing municipalities, it is SAMU representing the employees, bulk of them belong to SAMU that Nkosinathi is representing, and then of course there's another union called IMATU. All of these parties are signatories to this main collective agreement, particularly how it must administer over time.
So basically, you have questions about how the workers are showing up, and you're trying to hold them accountable through the unions, is what you're saying?
Not necessarily through the union. Look, the issue of monitoring of staff is a function again of management.
Yes.
But of course, yes, right? Proceed.
Yes, and you're right, Oscar. So what is your management doing about it?
So that's exactly the point that we're making, to say that all line managers, all senior managers, and all, respective levels of management, supervisors, and so on, have been given a directive to say, we must indeed monitor that workers come to work, they do work, and do work in accordance with what the basic conditions demand, right, or direct. And then any overtime standby must be planned and approved by management. This has been communicated both in our formal meetings. We communicate this with the union through the local labor forum.
And to the extent that there are allegations that your workers are the ones that are destroying infrastructure so that they can benefit from the outsourcing of water tankers.
Yeah. So yes. So that is something that obviously is quite, alarming, and it has been raised from time to time through meetings and, as it is being raised now in this public platform. I think it's also part of the ongoing investigation, especially of Section 106. But I'll give an example. Where there are instances of such allegations, we try and act very quickly to deal with investigations, verification of this information, and if there is indeed, prima facie, indications that there is something to be answered, and then we follow the disciplinary processes accordingly.
Oscar, I'm going to have to pause it there with you. We're going to take a quick break. I also see some callers on the line. I will get your input shortly.
Dumelang Mzansi, welcome to the Health Club. This is where we unpack the issues that affect our health, your well-being, and your everyday life.
Arthritis, high blood.
Losing your health is an event that is not predictable.
Organized crime syndicates have infiltrated our healthcare system and has cost the country billions of rands.
Claims that are fraudulent could be anything between 5 to 15%.
I'm your host, Clement Manyatela. This is the Health Club.
Tension and drama will go higher than the rooftop between the Atlas Lions and Chipolopolo. Both nations are chasing 3 points. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Witness the superb African contest, Morocco versus Zambia, this Thursday, 14 August at 4 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Municipal Watch, bringing your local issues on the national agenda. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Says Cathy, I'm from Komazi, Steenbok to be precisely. I'm 38 years now. Still there's no water. Since there's always project after project, digging, putting new pipes, but water is not coming out. I know that place very well. There's no progress. The government is failing us in that place. Komazi municipality is a failure. Jabulo Dlovethembisa.
Good morning, Katie and the team. I remember it was 2023 when there was flooding. Coca-Cola donated in around 3 to 4 water tankers to supply the communities with water. What I know about these Nkomazi municipality councillors they are doing, they own trucks, they supply water to the community, they block the pipes intentionally so that they can sell the water to the communities. And residents went to one of the reservoirs down there in Sebokeng Block C, and then what they found, they found a cement blocking a pipe that was supposed to supply communities with water, so these water tankers could supply the waters. If you don't believe me, check their Facebook pages. You'll see more trucks grading the roads, cleaning the roads. That's where the trucks cannot reach before. So it's their new target market. They're expanding their market.
Thanks for those voice notes. Veli, you are a resident in Nkomazi. Good morning.
Hi, how are you, much?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Yeah, I would just like to talk about the fact that why is the municipal manager the one coming to answer questions here? Because first and foremost, he was only hired in June. And another thing, he's actually not from Nkomazi, so he doesn't have contact with people in Nkomazi to know exactly what we're facing. Why is the man not the one coming to speak? Because this is a problem that didn't begin in June. It's been a problem for years now. First and foremost.
Okay, that's a very...
Another thing that I would like to add
Yeah.
Is that the water problem. The moment they allowed private tankers to be able to sell water directly to the consumers, it was a problem. Because what happens is that they buy tanks, and the moment the municipality is able to directly give service of water to people, what happens is the tankers now have no jobs. You see, they have no contracts. They can't get any money. So what happens is that they start sabotaging the pumps and the stations so that they can have money. So this is a problem. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Veli, thank you for that contribution. Mike, you're in Middleburg. Good morning.
Morning, Cathy, and thanks for taking my call. Yeah, Cathy, you remember what I said previously about the elephant in the room. In Mpumalanga, Nkomazi included, of course, the fundamental problem, you just look no further than your RECs and PECs in terms of political interference. For the bloated administration, I can tell you now that more often than not, you find that those who are employed or who were employed to be part of the administration, it was a directive, it was a political directive that we have volunteers here, they cannot be left out in the lurch, they are suffering, so make a plan. And when you raise it, that look, but in terms of the budget, we cannot cater for these people, you are told that, look, Chief, we leave all that in our capable hands. We did not deploy you to bring us excuses. We deployed you to be as creative as you possibly can. That is a problem in Mpumalanga. And unfortunately, Cathy, people have got to comply because they are afraid to be recalled. They are afraid to lose their deployment or jobs, you see. It will take someone who is very bold, someone who will say, I will not take unlawful instructions. I will not adhere to unlawful instructions.
Sure.
So that whether we are recalled, so be it. Unfortunately, we have very few people who can be brave,
Mike, how can you be creative when there's simply no budget to be taking on that additional staff? Are there no considerations for what the consequences of instructions of that nature are on the actual functioning and running of services?
Do they care, Cathy? They don't care. They just don't care. They leave it up to you, and you will see to finish. Remember, I once made an example that we're instructed, to employ someone as a youth manager who didn't qualify, number one, but number two, who performed dismally during interviews. And then I just told the municipal manager that, no, we cannot appoint this person. And yes, you know what happened to us thereafter, of course. I wouldn't elaborate.
Sure. Mike, thank you for that contribution, because it goes against any principle of good governance. You go on an employment drive for 179 positions, you come back with 400 positions. That is more than double the positions that you sought to fill in the first place, and those are unfunded. And you have a municipality now that is operating on an unfunded budget. How are they going to get anything done? Yeah, I'm looking at the time. I don't even know where to go now because we've got literally a minute left. Oscar, the reality is that it's a dire state of affairs. How are you going to change that? Because that's your job now as the municipal manager.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Katie. And I'm mindful of your time. Just to deal with the issue that was just raised by a caller about the fact that one, I knew, two, I'm not from the area. I don't think that, a person recruited, whether permanently or on a temporary basis, municipal manager, should necessarily come from the area. I think it's all about the skills, the capacities, and the qualification that one possesses, whether be they a South African or an African in particular, but most importantly, a South African, you understand the problems of South Africa and in Mpumalanga, one. But two, your question about what it is that we're going to have to do to turn the situation around. We are hard at work. We are, doing everything that we can to push efficiencies, like you're saying. People must do what they are expected to do them diligently. People must just be disciplined, and we must just have discipline, fiscal, how do I put this? We need to be prudent with our financial management, and really, 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 we've got to tighten our belts, but at the same time try to see how it is that we can accelerate services. It's not easy, but it's doable, but it will require effort from all of us that are involved, all the stakeholders, community, councillors, as well as administration. Thank you very much.
Yes, very briefly, please. Is it Nkosinati?
Okay, go on, Nkosinati.
Thank you, Cathy. We want to put it categorically here to say we must bear in mind that an unhappy employee will not be able to produce the desired result, which is number one, that must be taken into consideration.
Yeah, but Nkosinati, I think the bigger problem here is the fact that you have workers that don't have posts to fill. That should equally concern you as a union.
Yeah, that one is correct. But on that one, let me say, remember, the workers that were employed, it's a responsibility of HR within the institution, as you are saying. People need to be patriotic at some point. One needs to be disciplined himself in the position of responsibility given to him, regardless of whether the pressure or under duress by politicians to at least bully employees like in your administration department to cater for their interest. I don't think that is assisting the institution. It's unpatriotic, in fact.
We are completely out of time. Abraham, I know that you also wanted to come on, but unfortunately we're going to have to leave it there. Here are your latest news updates.
Thank you, Cathy. On the top stories, fatalities reported after police van carrying inmates overturned in Limpopo, and police divers search for a fisherman in Port Alfred. For SAFM News, I am Ondalambana, and a very good morning.
An unknown number of people have died after police van overturned outside Municipal in Limpopo. Police spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba has confirmed that the police vehicle was transporting inmates when the incident occurred. We'll have more details as they unfold. Angry Soweto residents are threatening to shut down Maponya Mall for 7 days until its management comes with a solution to protect shoppers, e-hailing drivers and everyone who visits the mall. The residents have blocked off Crisani Road, not allowing anyone in and out of the mall. This comes after an e-hailing driver was killed in an arson attack in a suspected taxi violence-related incident last night. A number of people have been hospitalized following the incident and 2 vehicles have been burned. Community leader Tabang Muloi.
We don't know who's fighting who, and we don't care who's fighting who. What we care about is people's lives. Do you understand? Our lives now, as customers say, are at risk. Yesterday, a certain old lady who was inside the Uber yesterday, she was missed with 4 bullets. Do you understand? Our main concern as leaders is that we want Maponya Mall management to say something, come out and say something. That's what we want only.
The National Sea Rescue Institute and police divers are searching for a 25-year-old fisherman who was swept off the rocks by waves while shoreline angling at West Pier in Port Alfred in the Eastern Cape. NSR spokesperson Craig Lambinon says reports indicate that the fisherman had been clinging onto rocks in the water before losing his grip as he was swept off by the waves. Lambinon says search efforts are ongoing.
Despite an extensive sea and shoreline search in and beyond the Kaui River mouth that included the setting off of illuminating parachute flares and deploying searchlights, there remains no signs of the 25-year-old local man. Police have opened an investigation. Police divers, assisted by NSR Port Alfred and Ndlami municipal authorities, are tasked in continuing in ongoing search efforts.
4 people between the ages of 16 and 38 have been wounded in a shooting in the Jim Sabas informal settlement in Philippi on the Cape Flats. Police spokesperson Wesley Twig says the victims were standing in the road when a vehicle stopped and the occupants opened fire. He says the incident may be gang-related. Twig says the victims were taken to hospital for treatment. No arrests have been made. The Gauteng Early Childhood Development Forum is set to march to the Premier's office in Johannesburg today to raise concerns about the challenges faced in the sector. In 2022, the governance of the ECD sector shifted from the Department of Social Development to the Department of Basic Education in an effort to enhance outcomes for young children and the ECD workforce. However, the DBE has been accused of poor communication and implementing changes that impact ECD staff without proper consultation. It has also been accused of inadequate funding for registered centers of each child per day. Founder of Lindokuhle Early Childhood Development Center, Connie Mkhabela.
We demand recognition. We demand the allocation on the SLAs that the ECDs has signed for, because we signed for an allocation for the 24 rand per child a day, and that is not being practical. A few ECDs only received that subsidy on the first quarter in June, and now there is nothing. Others did not receive. So we demand answers. We demand clarity because nothing was communicated.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned Israel and Russia that he has significant concerns that their armed and security forces have engaged in patterns of sexual violence. Israel's ambassador to the UN called the accusations baseless, and Russia hasn't yet responded. The BBC's Neda Tawfik reports.
Mr. Guterres said he was gravely concerned about credible violations by Russian and Israeli forces, which included genital violence, prolonged nudity, and abusive and degrading strip searches. The Secretary General said Russia had not engaged with his special representative, while limited information had been provided by Israel on accountability measures, despite witness testimony and digital evidence of Israeli soldiers committing such violations.
Recapping the top story, police spokesperson Brigadier Hlulani Mashaba says there have been fatalities after police van carrying inmates overturned outside Municipal in Limpopo. I'm on Dilambana for SFM News Headlines at 11:30.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All. We honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Who says talking never solves anything? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Good morning, Sis Cathy. Bongo Sondisaye. Then, can you ask the gentleman there, Sis Cathy, are they not allowed to retrench if they are like, they are overstaffed? So why are they not retrenching? Because retrenchment it's only like last in, first out. It was 800 million. Oh, that's too much, Sis Cathy.
Yeah, the question about overtime at municipal workers, and really that is something that bothers me, and I think the unions is a big problem coming to this case, because the way that the municipal workers are work on a normal day, it's really scandalous, because it looks like they work overtime. There are not any eagerness to finish a job. You're looking at people standing 12 days. You have to fix a small hole about 1 by 1 square meters. 12 people working for 2 weeks around that hole. It's ridiculous. And I blame, and this is why I'm going to say it again, I blame unions for this, because you can't do anything to the people and force them to work faster, because then the unions, they're going to say, yeah, the unions will sort this thing out for us. And this is, overtime in municipalities is a big problem.
FM and listeners, it's the issue of municipalities. It's so painful. We've got our brothers and sisters who work at the municipalities. They are always at home. Somebody will tell you that I just go there to clock in and then I go home. I don't understand what type of job is that. They don't work normal like me and you, who got in the morning 7 o'clock or till 5 o'clock or so on. Just go there to clock and then go back to clock out. Hence, you are not at work. So this is what is happening in our municipalities that are run by our people, the ANC government. People are lazy.
Good morning, Cathy. Just listening to your discussion with Mike and with this municipal guy that employed too many people. This is exactly the same thing that happens in business, where the government is expecting the economy just to create jobs, but people don't have money to buy things. So how do people employ another 10 or 20 people in their business, and then they have to comply with certain laws as to who you have to employ? Then the unions come in and tell you you can't fire these people that aren't working right or up to standard or whatever it is. And you go through these huge processes to get rid of them, and huge expense. And this is what the country is happening in the country. And municipalities are just employing people willy-nilly, even though they don't have the money and there's no work for them.
Ghost workers, KwaZulu-Natal, Department of Education, all departments, well done. Ghost workers, billions. Dated 1994 up to now, ghost workers. Screen them out, search them out, flush them out, and come back to government buildings. Stop leasing. Go ahead, KwaZulu-Natal. Lifestyle audit, ghost workers. Lifestyle audit, ghost workers. Pambeli, GNU Pambeli. Government of Provincial Unity, KwaZulu-Natal. Go ahead. All departments must follow, from basic education.
Good morning, House Katie. Good morning, House Katie. Here in Cape Town, we're living in another zone. Every day we can't sleep without guns or people dying. Here in Cape Town, Sis Katie. Now this is another town, this is Katie. I don't know what we need here in Cape Town. Thank you, Sis Katie. Makongo in Cape Town.
The Angolans and the Congolese have a glittering 90 minutes to demonstrate who will dominate the Central African Derby. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Catch the thrilling clash between Angola and Democratic Republic of Congo this Thursday, 14 August at 7 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 100-gram Danone Nutri-Day Smooth Yogurt 6-pack, buy any two for 32 Rand, plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile, or 4 kg Spar IQF Chicken, mixed portions for 159.99, plus 400 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 24 August 2025, while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
West Africans and Niger are hunting for nothing but 3 points, while Bafana Bafana are pumped to achieve a win. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Niger confronts South Africa on Friday, 15 August at 7 p.m. Live at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Well, our final conversation for today is going to be reflecting on the Department of Defense and Military Veterans, but we'll also touch on a number of issues because, while our guest wears quite a few hats, General Bantu Holomisa, he's the Deputy Minister of the Defense and Military Veterans. Good morning, General Holomisa, and thank you so much for your time on the Talking Point today.
Good morning to you, Cathy, and to our listeners.
If I can just start off with some of the calls that we get from our listeners. People feel that since you've been in government, General, you've gone a bit quiet, taken a bit of a back seat.
Well, unfortunately for them, they must know that the portfolio I've been assigned to, there's a lot of work to be done. And fortunately, I did share the work I've been doing since July last year. I published it deliberately. There's a lot of work which needs to be done in the Defense Force. And we sometimes, I noticed that the department, since many ministers have been there complaining that there are problems, but no one is seemingly ready to solve them. So I'm trying my little best to do something. So if they say I've taken a backseat, so be it. But I'm working. I've proved that, and I've shown the public.
So it's not necessarily because you're afraid of rattling the GNU boat.
No. You must also remember that once you say you are in government, the government has got programs which we must follow. And there are rules and regulations. And sometimes you cannot play both, being in opposition and also in the government. because the protocol is going to embarrass you.
And how are you dealing with that, General? The tension that exists between now being part of government, but also leading a political party that very much is or has been an opposition party. There are things that would come up in the national landscape that voices like yourselves would, feature quite strongly on, and I think that's why there is this reflection around the fact that it feels that your voice is missing on some of these issues. How have you been trying to deal with that tension? Yeah,
I've delegated the work of the UTM of administering on a daily basis to my Deputy President Kwangwa, and I think he has done very well. I don't even have that opportunity anymore of asking questions to the president because I'm in the cabinet with the president. So Mr. Kwangwa has done extremely well. No one can question that. So the question, therefore, of intervening at times, I will be called by the party or I will call the deputy president to say, this is nonsense, go for it. So we do cooperate on a daily basis. But I'm doing a work with the minister, NG, and the generals. It's a lot of work.
And I'm going to get to that work shortly, General. Just perhaps then to touch on lastly on this question of the GNU. The approach that you take is not necessarily the approach that other partners in the GNU have taken. We have seen that very public and sometimes,
threatens that GNU.
Yes. There isn't even a sense of respect sometimes among the partners, among how they're communicating around issues or even to each other. How are you finding that? And is that the best course of action for where things are currently?
Well, some of us are participating in a coalition GNU type of government for the first time. Fortunately, Olomisa has been there for quite some time. I managed a serious transition when I toppled the government of Transkei. And I managed that transition up to 1994, having worked with liberation movements, AZAPO, ANC, and PAC. And if you are going to apply a partisanship approach when you are in government, you are going to miss the boat. That's why we always apply a non-partisan approach. And working with the GNU in 1994, I did also get an experience in how to manage and deal with this. And Mr. Mandela, who was the president then, always said, gentlemen, stay focused, do your work. The National Party is doing this work. I mean, the members from National Party and so on and so on. So this posture of shouting and insulting and threatening, personally, if I was the president, some of the parties, I would have long shown them the door.
Do you have open conversations about it amongst yourselves as the GNU partners?
Yes, we do talk about this when we meet informally. Sometimes the president himself invite a forum of leaders, but those meetings are always cordial and fruitful. But some, if immediately after that, they would go to the media and start leaking some of the things we've discussed. So there's a little bit of, you have to choose. Do you want to be in government or do you want to have another sword for destabilizing your same government you are being paid for. Those choices must be made at some stage.
You certainly can straddle the two forever. Is the
No.
point that you're making? But I guess it's no clearer than when you said if you were making the decisions, you would have kicked some of the parties out of the GNU if it were up to you. Since you've come into office, there was, of course, a view from many that perhaps you should have been made the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans. The president at the time did speak about how you and Minister Motshecha would be sharing the responsibilities. What has the actual experience been? What have you been doing? What is she doing?
We are three running that department. It's the minister, deputy minister, Mkongi, my colleague, and myself. We have never experienced any problem in communicating amongst ourselves. The issue of who should have been a minister or deputy minister, that is here nor there. What we decided to do is to always converge whenever there is a need to do so, and we provide directions in a number of areas. And I'm sure you have seen us going to Parliament. I think this is the only ministers of departments in this government which have been regularly attending the portfolio committees, both the Defense Portfolio Committee as well as Joint Standing Committee on Defense. And we are pushing a lot of paperwork within, and the Auditor General's report. We have come up with the audit action plan. So we are working together. So it's not a question of who's in charge. And with the experience of Minister Angie Motshekga, we have also gained a lot from her. And I'm sure she is also learning from some of us.
Does the department need 3 ministers, though?
I don't know. Just ask the government. But so far, there are 3 ministers.
No,
So
but General, you have been in the department. You know exactly what is going on. You understand now, having been in this portfolio for a year, what the demands are.
I fully agree with the plan to have 3 ministers. That is, you have a minister. And then remember that in the past, you would have a minister and a deputy to deputized minister for Department of Defense.
Yes.
But when the military veterans was established, Department of Military Veterans is separate. You are talking about dealing with plus minus 83,000 veteran soldiers and so on. And then you also deal close to 90,000 members of the defense force. So that department is like a government within a government.
So I guess what I'm trying to get a better sense of, and this is based again on your own review, the year in review that you have publicized, is has there been an intentional segmenting of responsibilities amongst yourselves to say, okay, Minister Holomisa, you are dealing with this aspect. Minister Mkhonto, you are dealing with that aspect. Is that what has happened?
Yes, Minister Mkongi is responsible for the Department of Military Veterans. So he's running that department.
Okay.
I'm the deputy to Minister Angie Motshekga for the Department of Defense.
Okay, so you are directly involved in the defense matters then?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into those defense matters. You have been quite scathing on the state of affairs within the SANDF. What is this based on?
Well, if you look at the status of the Defence Force, the Department of Defence Force has been in the media for wrong reasons at times. And we have been trying to fix that problem. But this problem is not coming from yesterday. Our predecessors have highlighted that the state of defense needs to be restored. The defense is decaying, so it has to be rescued. And fortunately, in 2023, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa, has said, let us help the Defence Force by making sure that we move away from funding it on a scale of 0.50% of the GDP to 1.5% of the GDP. But it looks like that instruction is taking time to be implemented by National Treasury. But be that as it may, we are engaging the Department of Finance with a view to rescue the Department of Defense.
One of the things that has come out quite prominently in the last year is the lack of preparedness that it seems our defense force is battling. There aren't enough resources. As we've been told, there isn't enough capacity. What does this position ultimately mean for the defense force and also for the security of the country?
Well, the state of readiness or lack of it, if you analyze it, you have to look at the policy of the government.
Okay.
It was in 1998.
Minister Holomisa, please, sorry to interject. I'm going to ask you just to hang 10 for me. It is now 11:30. We've got the latest news headlines coming up. I'll give you an opportunity to continue on that note shortly.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines, 5 inmates were killed after a police van transporting inmates overturned today outside Municipal in Limpopo. Limpopo spokesperson says the van was transporting inmates from Mukupane to Municipal for court appearance. He says 6 inmates have been injured. Eastern Cape Police are investigating a triple murder case following the fatal shooting of 3 men in a house at Fairview in Gqeberha and the trial of MK Party Member of Parliament Dutuzile Zuma Sambudla in connection with the 2021 July unrest has been set down in the Durban High Court from the 10th to the 21st of November. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
2-time Chan champs, DRC chases 3 points, while the Atlas Lions only want to settle for a win. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Experience the excitement of African football. Democratic Republic of Congo versus Morocco. This Sunday, 17 August at 2 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to The Talking Point. We're in conversation with General Bantu Holomisa, the Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans. And as he's outlined, his responsibility is to look at the South African Defence Force and try and get the force back up into a state and a shape that we can all really be proud of. So, General Holomisa, you were reflecting then on the current state of preparedness by the SANDF and giving us the history of the problem.
You will recall that in 1998, the ANC government took a decision which was well received that they are going to invest more on social security as opposed to military security. As a result of that, the budget of the Defence Force in the successive years was slashed. But what happened is that it looks as though that the government didn't do its proper research and thorough analysis of the situation, because the Department of Defense equipment was already old by then. You had trucks, especially for the army. The army was never allocated anything during the arms deal period. The only part is, the sections of the defense which were funded was the Air Force and Navy. But even then, you find that the deal which was signed then didn't cater for maintenance of those equipment. So in terms of saying the state of readiness, it really would depend as to what kind of threat we are facing. But fortunately for now, we are not envisaging a situation where the SADF would be involved in the conventional warfare. But we are still going to be asked to assist the police during the period where you have civil disobedience and so on and so on. So in terms of talking about state of readiness overall, we need to jack up our socks or pull our socks up.
The difficulty, General, is that we are sitting within SANDF who, despite, these unsatisfactory levels of preparedness, are still then deployed to be part of missions, whether, in the SADC region or in the broader region. And that in and of itself is compromising the lives and the safety of our soldiers. So it's not inconsequential that there is this level of unpreparedness.
You see, if SADC or any country or UN request South Africa to deploy its troops on a peacekeeping mission, the president normally would approve that in principle, subject to the evaluation by the generals. So if you have a situation where you find that we send troops without proper equipment, it's a failure on the part of the generals to advise the minister and the president to say, notwithstanding our commitment to peacekeeping missions, we have a request, Mr. President. We would like to get funding to maintain the following equipment: helicopters, this and that. We would need armored plate vehicles, troop carriers. So I think that's where the problem is. South Africa is not against participating in the peacekeeping, but the department's leadership must advise the president and parliament that, yes, we notice you have approved this request, but because of the following reasons, we can't risk and deploy our troops there.
Do you have reason to believe that that has not happened previously, that there was no official or formal advice from the generals within the SANDF when the country made the decisions around some of our deployments, including the DRC?
I have not come across with that report, but if you analyze the situation on the ground, especially in the DRC recently, we found that we were found wanting when it comes to defending our troops. So it tells you that there was a big gap, a lapse of not advising people properly.
Are these conversations that you have had with the generals? Because, of course, it is a very strong
Yes,
statement.
we have had them. Yes, we have had them. I have had them, and they did confirm that since the times of who was minister there,
Nosiviwe Mapisa
and
Nqakula, your predecessor.
And Modise, they have submitted reports, requests for funding of the defense, for maintaining of the helicopters, but no response. Please.
Have you gotten different responses?
What do you mean?
On the issue of funding?
They have not been funded. They have not been funded, Cathy. That's why every day we're saying, why are you defunding the Department of Defense? Why are you defying even the president, who says move from 0.56% to 1.5% of the GDP? You don't see any movement on that. Who's in charge in this country?
That's a question. Yeah, that's a question that I would ask you, Minister. You're the one that's in governance.
I've answered you. I've answered you to say the Department of Finance must assist the Department of Defense. Simple as that.
So effectively, the departments of the finance ministry is defying the president when it comes to the issue of funding for the SANDF.
The results are there. If they say they have funded defense in line with what the president is suggesting, you can call them live on TV, on radio right now.
When you have conversations with the Department of Finance, what does the minister say to you?
You see, what we need to understand and educate the people here, there is a strong body there which is called a cabinet committee a cabinet committee. If the security cluster, as it has been proven, is not represented in that cabinet committee, finance committee, that finance committee, cabinet finance committee, is the one which recommends the final figures to the minister. So this thing needs to be restructured completely. Otherwise, we will be victims in this department, of being accused that we are letting the security of the country down.
When we look at what this means then for any future deployments, given the fact that there's been no changes to the funds that the department is receiving, you've already said that there are great gaps in as far as capacity. Do you think that South Africa should take on any requests to be part of missions in future, all things remaining equal?
Well, it will depend as to at what level. If it is United Nations, I wouldn't object to that, to continue to work under United Nations, because they've got equipment. But if it is SADC and other regions, I would say Parliament and the Presidency and the Minister of Defense should satisfy themselves that they are taking a right decision. It must not be just a political expedience.
How have you felt about the image that this has left in the minds of South Africans, but I think also in the minds of our regional partners and globally? Of course, it hasn't been a good look for us when it comes to the matters the SANDF has been facing. How have
Well,
you felt about it?
Well, you are speaking to a converted. Remember that I was a deputy chair of the Defense Service Commission. When the soldiers went to Union Building, marched to Union Buildings, I think it was 2010, somewhere along those lines, President Zuma woke me up through Minister Sisulu to please and quell that uprising, and I complied. And then I think about 5 or 7 of us, we managed to stop that. And then we move around the country, addressing the soldiers in in all the military bases. And we submitted those complaints. Guess what? Those findings, which were contained in the interim reports about the condition and state of the defense force and the conditions of the service. Some of those things, majority of them, have never been addressed because they didn't get adequate funding. We'll talk about this until tomorrow, but it's the same.
And given the extent of the problem then, General Holomisa, I mean, one wonders, why do you think the president hasn't taken more steps to ensure that there's compliance from the Treasury? Because we keep coming back to this issue of funding, you know?
Okay, I think that question you can refer to Union Buildings, not to me.
Have you asked the president?
We have submitted everything.
Do you think it has to do with the fact that you are a minister that is, yes, part of governance, but not part of the ANC?
No, I'm not a minister of defense.
I mean, as a deputy, as a deputy minister, do you think
Maybe
that
I don't understand your question?
I'm saying, do you think that your position as a member of the GNU, coming from the UDM, has any bearing on the extent to which whatever propositions you put on the table are listened to?
No, listen. We submit reports, requests in writing as a department. It's not a ANC or UDM which is doing that. All I'm saying is that if you look at the 2015 Defense Review, nice paper, nice document, but implementing it, we didn't get money to implement that. As a department, I said to you, our predecessors have been singing the same song. I even made an example about myself to say, whilst I was in the commission, Defense Force Service Commission, we raised these issues. And I hope that the president at some stage will start cracking the whip.
You've also highlighted the incredible scale of corruption that exists within entities that fall under the SANDF. Speak to us about just, some of the significant ones that have really left you feeling this should not be happening at all.
Well, what is clear is that the scourge of corruption which we have been witnessing in other departments has also affected the Department of Defense. This is not a thumb-sucking arrangement or statement. The Auditor General's report was scathing about the way we control, the way the department has failed to control resources and funding. And to that end, you are sure you are also aware that President recently, or this year, signed a proclamation to authorize the SIU to investigate some of the transactions. We are busy right now with the military police as well as the the security apparatus from outside the defense, that is Hawks, NPA, and so on. We are busy with those cases where some of the cases cannot be handled from within, but we have given them to the police. So the jury is still out there. We will see what will come out of that. But unfortunately, as you know, we have an NPA which you don't know whether it's coming forward or backwards.
To what extent does that affect the work that you are doing in also trying to hold these entities accountable?
Well, unfortunately, the issue of corruption in general cannot be addressed by one department or individual. It's going to be a collective approach. That's why we keep on with the minister, keep on getting briefing from the military police, and also portfolio committee has also summoned the Hawks and SIU. So we just have to follow the rules. There's no shortcut.
Earlier on, you talked about when unpacking the state of preparedness, you also mentioned, the work of the SANDF in assisting the police. And yes, and this would be then on internal deployments. It's often a contentious conversation, General, around, why do we need boots, soldiers on the ground doing the work that the SAPS or any other entity of the state should rather be doing. Is this something that you find you're having to continuously be thinking about because of the deteriorating state? Just this morning we had listeners call on the show saying that the SANDF must be deployed to help fight crime in this country.
Well, there's no way that we would avoid not assisting the police. It's in our regulations, it's in our laws. So that question of saying the defense, why is it helping the police, is not standing. It has no place. We are duty bound to assist, to quell any uprising, especially if people using force to test the stability of the country. So you have to work with the police. Unfortunately, defense doesn't have powers to arrest people, but we can protect the police. So to do their work is in law in this country.
Are you anticipating uprisings in South Africa?
No, I don't, but we have seen a similar thing in KZN during that mayhem. Where it was embarrassing was to see soldiers being carried by buses to a situation where it was volatile. That must stop. That's why we say the defense force must be ready, be equipped to deal with internal problems and also any foreign aggression. We are not begging anybody for that. It's a must. I mean, if you look at the waste of money on some of the projects, look at what they are doing about the pensions, where they just take billions and billions of rands and misuse them. It's the same thing which is taking place now in the municipalities. So it's like pouring money into a bottomless pit. So somehow, at some stage, somebody must say, this is enough, no more. You can't cross this line anymore.
General, just yesterday, you had one of the generals of the SANDF come under hot water, that is General Mapanywa, over the comments that he made in Iran. What was he in Iran to do?
Well, the commander of the SANDF normally is deployed either by the minister or by the president. So at this stage, I'm unable to say who sent him there. But what you must know, a commander of a defense force of any country would never leave the country without the authority of the minister or the president. So that's it off for now until such time the general comes back and address this question. But for now, remember, Iran and South Africa have got diplomatic ties. They have agreements they have signed with almost all the state departments, from energy up to Department of Defense. So there is nothing wrong for him to have gone to Iran in principle, unless there's something which is nagging you. What is the problem?
So, just to understand, you being in charge of the SANDF, if there's a deployment of the commander, you're saying it would have been at the behest of the president and the minister. You wouldn't be copied in an email that says this person is being sent off on such and such duty.
No, it's not necessary.
Okay, so you didn't even know that he was in Iran.
I knew that he was in Iran, but it didn't have to be approved or that I need to be consulted.
The issue of the comments that he has made, of course, it's sparked quite a reaction. What is your understanding of what he said, General?
What did he say? Just educate the listeners.
Look, the quote that we have here, as stated by Iranian state media, is that he talked about the trip. He said this trip is not only a military one, but it has a political message and was carried out at the best possible time to express our heartfelt feelings to the peace-loving state of Iran. The sentiment that was further expressed was one of mutual cooperation and working together between Iran and South Africa.
So what is wrong there?
That's what I'm asking you, General, about these comments.
But it comes from you.
Yes, I'm asking you
what make you unhappy?
I didn't say I was unhappy about it. I'm asking you about why you think it has sparked the reaction that it is, because we've later seen a statement from DIRCO and a statement from the SANDF, or rather from the Ministry of Defense and Military Veterans, that is distancing itself from those comments.
No, now I understand where you are coming from. I think for now, let's wait for the general to come back so that he can brief the nation. Thank you. Next question.
General Holomisa, is that all you have to say about it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the department, you say...
But it's your department that has issued a statement distancing itself from the comments.
I'm not sure if it was to distance more than to say the duty of foreign policy is managed by the presidency and DECO. There's no way that Department of Defense had said we're distancing ourselves. Don't mislead the public.
The point is that statement in and of itself suggests that there was some inappropriateness in the way in which the general handled himself in Iran. And
that's fine. That's your interpretation. I've got my own interpretation.
What is your interpretation?
My interpretation is simple to say Department of Defense is not involved into the foreign policy. If you want to ask why General said that, go to DECO and go to the presidency. That's what it says.
So do you have a view that he may have overstepped his mark?
You see, in the climate we have currently, yes, people might justify to say, why did he have to say this while we are busy with that, and so on and so on. But let the general come back and confirm, underline confirm, what is contained in the media. So he's a South African, he's coming, he's not in exile. He's coming back, wait for him.
What are you hoping to get done in the Department General? Give me the one thing that when you leave the department you would have hoped to achieve.
One is to clean corruption within the Department of Defense. As you know, that a lot of the soldiers are facing charges of corruption running into millions and millions of rands. We need to restore the image of the Department of Defense, and because professionally, it's embarrassing that we are in newspapers that we are being accused of stealing government monies. It just shows that this cancer of corruption is eating into the body politic of South Africa, including its institutions, like a cancerous tumor. And I hope we would stop that. Secondly, we need to make sure that by the time we leave Defense Force in 5 years to come, when our term ends, at least we are satisfied with the training of our officers, that we have produced quality officers, and that we have also rejuvenated the Department of Defense, and also that the Department of Defense has got enough equipment in terms of our resources as a country.
General Bantu Holomisa, always a pleasure being in conversation with you, the Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Chibalabala want to redeem themselves with a win, while Harambee Stars are in high spirits to secure maximum points. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Experience the excitement of African football. Zambia versus Kenya, this Sunday 17 August at 2 p.m. Live everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.